Equity in education is defined as the quality of education being better, and that the education is tailored to each student's needs. Meanwhile, equality in education is defined that everyone has access to this education, that education is not always tailored specifically to each student's needs. And we ended up asking some high school teachers about what equality and equity mean to them, and these were their responses.
I think equality means that you treat everybody the same. So everybody that walks into your classroom, from male to female to race to where they live to how much money they have, has equal opportunity to learn. Equity means you got to make sure that you're doing whatever you can so that those students can learn. Now, some people are going to require more time, some people less, some people 3 books, some people 4. So you treat everybody the same, but you treat each individual differently as well.
Well, I think equity means making sure that everyone sort of has whatever it is that they need to be successful, and I think equality is giving everybody the same thing. And I think in education we want to strive for equity to make sure that everyone has a chance to be successful, no matter where they're coming from, no matter where they're starting from, and recognizing that kids come and start in different places, and making sure that we fill those needs for wherever kids start.
We asked a variety of high school teachers to give an example of how they use equity and equality within their classroom, and these were their responses.
Um, so I try to give students choices as far as what to read, what their deadlines look like. Um, an example of being fair but not equal is if the students are reading a novel, maybe the novels aren't the same amount of pages or chapters. Another example might be to give students different assessments. Another example would be, especially during COVID, if I have a student who's out ill for a couple weeks, maybe that student doesn't have to do the same final assessment that the other students do, but that student would have a similar assessment, skill-based rather than based on coursework that we did while that student was out sick.
Well, the easiest way to do that is you almost treat everybody like they have an IEP. So everybody has an individualized plan. Now, some students, they're going to sit down and they're going to get to work on their computer. Other students may come back and have 10 questions, and then most of your students are going to be somewhere in between. So when it comes time to take a test, if somebody needs extra time or if somebody has help on a test, it should be the teacher's responsibility to give it to them. The students that understand the material, the concept, they're going to get it done. It's the ones that you have to help along that I think that's where teaching really comes in. So you give those students the extra time, the extra attention, maybe the extra help that they need, but you may not have to give it to somebody that doesn't ask for it. So I know it's pretty generic in that regard, but that's how I would do it and do it.
The company Good, along with Hyperact and the University of Phoenix, describe the educational gap as not one of achievement, rather of opportunity. And this gap in opportunity disproportionately impacts students of color who come from low-income backgrounds, and the demographic inequalities Black and Hispanic students in the United States face in comparison to their white peers put them at a disadvantage before they even enter school, and even in school. And when combined with the educational disparities, students of color often have to overcome more challenges to have an equal chance at life's opportunities. One key factor in the opportunity gap is income. This is most prevalent when Black and Hispanic children are 3 times more likely to live in poverty than whites, and when the median net worth of white households with children is 6 times greater than Hispanic ones, and 18 times greater than Black ones. This disparity has both physical and psychological effects on students. Whereas physically, it could mean that the student is hungry and is incapable of thinking properly because they are too busy focused on food. And psychologically speaking, it could also affect them in their mindset, where they view themselves as less worthy as, say, students with more money. We surveyed 2 high schools where the population of students is roughly 30% Black, and the questions we asked them were in regards to equity and equality within their school. 26 students got back to us, and these were their responses. We had asked these students if they had seen examples of equity and equality within their school, and 50% of them said hardly, 25% said no, and 25% said yes, that they had seen examples in their school. We then asked if the students knew of any resources that their school offered to aid them in their education, and 50% of them said they got it from tutors, 25% said no, and 25% said yes. The third question we asked students was if it was hard for them to access these educational resources. And 75% said yes, that it is difficult to access these resources. And 25% said no, it is not difficult. The final question we asked these students was if they had a professor/teacher that they can go to for help with these resources in their school. 25% said no, it was only tutors, while 75% said yes, that they can go to teachers for these resources. The opportunity gap is even present within the schools that we surveyed, in that it shows that students have a difficult time accessing resources that can help prepare them and give them better opportunities within their education system. The opportunity gap isn't solely defined by income. Rather, it is also an amalgamation of other factors, including race, and that solutions are present that address the gap, such as better housing options, to criminal justice reform, to healthcare solutions. Yet systemic solutions that attack the gap from a local and national level are the best way to ensure fair, equitable opportunities for all students, and that students from all backgrounds are given access to superior academic and sociocultural opportunities from birth will begin to close this opportunity gap. There are ways to promote equity within our schools. One of these is by removing the prerequisites for honors and advanced placement classes. As one of the teachers we interviewed describes,
when we talk about equity and equality in terms of race, I think one of the things that we want to look at a school is, are we giving all of our kids an opportunity to be in, for example, the most advanced classes? We look at our AP classes and we notice, for example, that there's a bigger proportion of white, richer kids in all of our AP courses. So figuring out, okay, how do we ensure that those high-level courses are available for all of our kids, regardless of race or socioeconomic background?
As the teacher we interviewed said, it is mostly rich white kids in the AP courses at that school. But this isn't limited to just this school. For instance, here is a graph detailing the breakdown of students in the state of North Carolina enrolled in AP courses in the year of 2019. Notice how much of a gap there is between each race/ethnicity that are taking AP courses. By having barriers in place to AP and honors courses, it is actively undermining and deterring Black and brown students and students of other races/ethnicities from taking these courses and not getting the opportunity to succeed in their education. Northeastern University gives future and current educators 4 practices that they can use to promote equity within their school, and one of them is by communicating classroom standards and by incorporating the ideas of learning and discomfort, respecting everyone's voice, listening, and also setting your personal teaching standards at the beginning of the class and school year. In the end, it is up to current and future educators to work hard to ensure the schools of the future are more equitable so that all students succeed in their education, regardless of race, gender, ethnicity, language, ability, family background, and/or income.